Creating a comprehensive list of 100 interview questions and answers for service desk, IT support, IT help desk, and desktop L. One roles requires covering various aspects of technical skills, problem-solving abilities, customer service, and general IT knowledge. Here is a structured list. Technical skills.
Question 1. What is the difference between a static IP and a dynamic IP?
A static IP address does not change and is manually assigned, while a dynamic IP address is automatically assigned by a DHCP server and can change.
Question 2. How would you troubleshoot a computer that won't boot?
Check the power supply, monitor the post, power on self-test for any error messages, ensure all cables are connected properly, and test with a different power source if necessary.
Question 3. What steps would you take to resolve a network connectivity issue?
Check physical connections, verify network settings, run diagnostic tools like ping or tracert, restart the router or switch, and check for network outages.
Question 4. How do you manage and resolve DNS issues?
Check DNS settings, clear the DNS cache using ipconfig/flushdns, verify the DNS server status, and test with alternative DNS servers.
Question 5. Explain the purpose of an Active Directory.
Active Directory is a directory service developed by Microsoft for Windows domain networks. It manages permissions and access to networked resources.
Question 6. What is the purpose of group policy in Windows?
Group policy allows administrators to control the working environment of user accounts and computer accounts, managing settings for users and computers in an Active Directory environment.
Question 7. How would you recover data from a failed hard drive?
Use data recovery software, attempt to access the drive through a different computer or operating system, or seek professional data recovery services if necessary.
Question 8. What are the common ports used by HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, and SSH?
HTTP uses port 80, HTTPS uses port 443, FTP uses port 21, and SSH uses port 22.
Question 9. How do you handle a user's account lockout issue?
Verify the cause of the lockout, such as incorrect password attempts or security policies, and reset the account if necessary.
Question 10. Describe how to install and configure a printer on a network.
Connect the printer to the network, install necessary drivers, configure network settings like the IP address and subnet mask, and add the printer to user devices.
Problem-solving abilities.
Question 12. Describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a difficult IT problem.
Provide a specific example outlining the problem, steps taken to resolve it, and the outcome.
Question 13. How would you approach diagnosing a slow computer?
Check for malware, review running processes and resource usage, ensure sufficient RAM and disk space, and consider hardware upgrades if necessary.
Question 14. What is your process for handling multiple high-priority issues at once?
Prioritize issues based on impact and urgency, delegate tasks if possible, and communicate with users about expected resolution times.
Question 15. How do you ensure that a recurring issue is permanently resolved?
Identify the root cause, implement a permanent fix, and monitor the situation to confirm the issue is resolved.
Question 16. What steps would you take to troubleshoot a software application that crashes frequently?
Check for updates or patches, review system logs, test on different hardware, and contact the software vendor for support if needed.
Customer service.
Question 17. How do you handle a frustrated or angry user?
Listen actively, empathize with their situation, remain calm, and work towards a solution while keeping them informed.
Question 18. Describe your approach to explaining technical issues to a non-technical user.
Use simple, clear language, avoid jargon, and provide analogies or visual aids if necessary.
Question 19. How do you ensure that you meet user expectations and service level agreements, or SLAs?
Prioritize tasks according to SLAs, maintain clear communication with users, and document resolutions.
Question 20. What strategies do you use to keep users informed during a lengthy troubleshooting process?
Provide regular updates, explain what steps are being taken, and set realistic expectations for resolution times.
How do you handle a situation where you cannot resolve a user's issue immediately?
Inform the user about the delay, explain the reason, offer a temporary workaround, and provide a timeline for resolution.
General IT knowledge. Question 21. What is the difference between an SSD and an HDD? A. SSDs, or solid-state drives, use flash memory and have no moving parts, offering faster read and write speeds and better durability compared to HDDs, or hard disk drives, which use spinning disks. Question 22. Explain the function of a firewall. A firewall monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined security rules, helping to protect against unauthorized access. Question 23. What are the main differences between Windows and Linux operating systems? A. Windows is a commercial operating system with a user-friendly interface, while Linux is open source, customizable, and often preferred for server environments. Question 24. What is virtualization and what are its benefits? A. Virtualization allows multiple virtual machines to run on a single physical machine, optimizing resource usage, improving scalability, and simplifying disaster recovery. Question 25. How do you secure a wireless network? Question 26. Use strong encryption, like WPA2 or WPA3, set a strong password, enable MAC address filtering, and hide the SSID if possible. Question 27. Describe the process of imaging a computer. A. Install a standard operating system and software setup on a computer. Create an image using imaging software, and deploy the image to other computers as needed. Question 28. What is a VPN and how does it work? A VPN, or Virtual Private Network, creates a secure, encrypted connection over the internet, allowing users to access a private network remotely. Question 29. Explain the difference between POP3 and IMAP email protocols. A. POP3 downloads emails from a server to a local device and usually deletes them from the server, while IMAP synchronizes emails between the server and multiple devices, keeping them on the server. Question 30. How would you set up a new user in an Active Directory environment? A. Create the user account in Active Directory, assign appropriate permissions and group memberships, set up email and other necessary services, and ensure login credentials are provided securely. Question 31. What is the purpose of a RAID configuration, and what are the different types? Question 32. RAID, or redundant array of independent disks, is used to improve performance and/or data redundancy. Common types include RAID 0, which is striping, RAID 1, which is mirroring, RAID 5, which is striping with parity, and RAID 10, which is a combination of 1 and 0. Advanced technical questions. Question 33. How do you handle malware infections on a user's computer? A. Isolate the computer from the network, run antivirus and anti-malware scans, remove infected files and restore the system from a backup if necessary. Question 34. What is the purpose of an SSL certificate? A. SSL certificates encrypt data transferred between a user's browser and a web server, ensuring secure communication and verifying the server's identity. Question 35. How would you optimize a network for better performance? A. Monitor network traffic, upgrade hardware, implement quality of service, reduce network congestion, and ensure proper network segmentation. Question 36. Describe how to configure a VPN connection for remote access. A. Set up a VPN server, configure VPN clients with the necessary credentials and settings, ensure proper encryption, and test the connection for stability and security. Question 37. How do you manage software licenses for an organization? A. Keep an inventory of all software, track license expirations, ensure compliance with licensing agreements, and manage renewals and upgrades. Question 38. What are some common network security protocols and their purposes? A. Common protocols include SSL and TLS for securing web traffic, IPsec for secure IP communications, SSH for secure remote access, and WPA2 for securing wireless networks. Question 39. How would you implement and manage a backup strategy? A. Determine critical data, choose appropriate backup methods such as full, incremental, or differential, schedule regular backups, and test recovery processes. Question 40. What is the role of a proxy server in a network? A. A proxy server acts as an intermediary between clients and the internet, providing anonymity, filtering content, and improving security. Question 41. How do you troubleshoot a failing network connection on a server? A. Check physical connections, verify network settings, review server logs, test with diagnostic tools, and ensure there are no hardware failures. Question 42. Explain the concept of network segmentation and its benefits. A. Network segmentation divides a network into smaller segments to improve performance, enhance security, and contain broadcast traffic. Behavioral questions. Question 43. How do you stay updated with the latest technology trends? A. Read industry blogs, attend webinars and conferences, participate in online forums, and take continuing education courses. Question 44. Describe a time when you went above and beyond to help a user. A. Provide a specific example, detailing the situation, actions taken, and the positive outcome. Question 45. How do you prioritize your tasks when you have multiple deadlines? A. Assess the urgency and importance of each task, create a prioritized list, and allocate time accordingly. Question 46. What do you do when you encounter a problem you cannot solve? A. Research the issue, consult with colleagues or experts, and seek assistance from technical support or forums if needed. Question 47. How do you handle confidential information and ensure data privacy? A. Follow company policies, use encryption, limit access to sensitive data, and adhere to legal and regulatory requirements. Question 48. Describe your experience working in a team environment. A. Provide examples of collaboration, communication, and how you contribute to achieving team goals. Question 49. How do you manage stress in a high-pressure IT support role? A. Prioritize tasks, take breaks, maintain a healthy work-life balance, and seek support from colleagues when needed. Question 50. What is your approach to continuous improvement in your work? A. Seek feedback, identify areas for improvement, set personal development goals, and stay updated with new technologies and practices. Question 51. How do you handle conflicting priorities from different stakeholders? A. Communicate with stakeholders to understand their needs, negotiate timelines, and prioritize tasks based on overall business impact. Question 52. Describe a time when you had to explain a technical concept to someone without a technical background. A. Provide a specific example, explaining the concept clearly and the successful outcome of the communication. Scenario-based questions. Question 52. A user reports that their computer is running very slowly. What steps do you take to diagnose and fix the issue? Answer. Check for malware, review system resource usage, uninstall unnecessary programs, and upgrade hardware if needed. Question 53. How would you handle a situation where multiple users cannot access a critical business application? Answer. Verify the application status, check for network or server issues, communicate with affected users, and escalate to the appropriate team if necessary. Question 54. A user complains about frequent disconnections from the Wi-Fi network. How do you troubleshoot this? Answer. Check signal strength, verify network settings, update drivers, and test with different devices or access points. Question 55. Describe the steps you would take to migrate user data from an old computer to a new one. Answer. Backup data, ensure compatibility, transfer files using appropriate methods like an external drive or network transfer, and verify data integrity on the new computer. Question 56. How would you respond to a phishing email incident reported by a user? Answer. Instruct the user not to click any links, analyze the email for malicious content, report it to the IT security team, and educate the user on recognizing phishing attempts. Question 57. A user is unable to print to a network printer. What troubleshooting steps do you take? Answer. Check printer status, verify network connections, ensure correct printer settings, and reinstall drivers if necessary. Question 58. How do you handle a situation where a critical server is down outside of regular business hours? Answer. Follow emergency protocols, contact necessary team members, work to restore service quickly, and communicate status updates to stakeholders. Question 59. A user needs remote access to the corporate network. How do you set this up? Answer. Configure VPN settings, provide necessary credentials, ensure security measures are in place, and test the connection. Question 60. How would you deal with a situation where a software update causes system instability? Answer. Roll back the update, investigate the cause, consult with the software vendor, and test the update in a controlled environment before reapplying. Question 61. Describe your process for deploying new software to multiple computers in an organization. Answer. Test the software, create a deployment plan, use automated deployment tools, monitor the installation, and provide user training if needed. Knowledge of tools and software. Question 62. What remote desktop tools are you familiar with? Answer examples include TeamViewer, AnyDesk, Microsoft, Remote Desktop, and VNC. Question 63. How do you use system monitoring tools to maintain network health? Answer. Regularly check performance metrics, set up alerts for unusual activity, and analyze trends to preemptively address issues. Question 64. Describe your experience with ticketing systems. Answer. Provide examples of systems used such as ServiceNow, Jira, or Zendesk, how you manage tickets, and your approach to documentation. Question 65. How do you utilize scripting languages in your work? Answer. Automate repetitive tasks, manage system configurations, and develop custom solutions using languages like PowerShell, Bash, or Python. Question 66. What backup solutions have you worked with? Answer examples include Acronis, Veeam, Symantec Backup Exec, and cloud-based services like AWS Backup. Question 67. How do you ensure software compliance and license management? Answer. Keep an inventory of licenses, monitor usage, enforce compliance policies, and conduct regular audits. Question 68. Describe your experience with virtualization platforms. Answer. Mention platforms used such as VMware, Hyper-V, or VirtualBox, tasks performed like creating VMs and managing resources, and any specific projects. Question 69. What network troubleshooting tools do you use? Answer. Examples include Wireshark, Ping, Traceroute, Netstat, and network analyzers. Question 70. How do you handle patch management in an organization? Answer. Test patches in a staging environment, schedule deployments, monitor systems for issues, and document the process. Question 71. Describe your experience with cloud services and infrastructure. Answer. Provide examples of services used such as AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, tasks performed like deploying applications and managing resources, and benefits realized. Communication and collaboration. How do you ensure effective communication with non-technical stakeholders? Use clear and simple language, provide visual aids, and focus on the impact and benefits of technical solutions. Describe a situation where you had to work closely with a team to resolve an issue. Provide details of the issue, your role in the team, collaborative efforts, and the successful resolution. How do you handle feedback from users or colleagues? Listen actively, appreciate constructive criticism, make necessary improvements, and apply feedback to enhance performance. What methods do you use to document technical procedures? Use clear step-by-step instructions, include screenshots or diagrams, and ensure documentation is accessible and regularly updated. How do you manage your time and workload effectively in a busy IT support environment? Prioritize tasks, use time management tools, set realistic goals, and avoid multitasking when possible. Describe a time when you had to explain a complex technical issue to a senior manager. Provide a specific example, how you simplified the explanation and the outcome of the conversation. How do you ensure that knowledge is shared within your team? Organize regular meetings, create shared documentation, use collaborative tools, and encourage open communication. Describe your approach to training new IT support staff. Provide structured onboarding, offer hands-on training, mentor new staff, and ensure they have access to resources and support. How do you handle a situation where there is a disagreement within your team on how to solve an issue? Facilitate open discussion. Consider all perspectives, seek consensus, and make a decision based on the best solution. Describe a time when you had to manage multiple stakeholders with different priorities. Provide an example, how you communicated with stakeholders, prioritized tasks, and ensured all needs were met. Knowledge of IT policies and procedures. How do you ensure compliance with IT policies and procedures? Follow established protocols, regularly review policies, educate users, and enforce compliance through monitoring and reporting. Describe your experience with creating and implementing IT policies. Provide examples of policies developed, the process of implementation, and the impact on the organization. How do you handle a situation where a user is not adhering to IT policies? Educate the user on the importance of the policy, enforce consequences if necessary, and report repeated violations. What steps do you take to ensure data security and privacy? Implement encryption, enforce strong password policies, regularly update software, and conduct security audits. Describe your experience with IT audits and compliance checks. Provide examples of audits conducted, your role in the process, and how you ensured compliance. How do you handle sensitive information and data breaches? Follow incident response protocols, isolate affected systems, conduct a thorough investigation, and communicate with stakeholders. What is your approach to managing user permissions and access controls? Use the principle of least privilege, regularly review access levels, and adjust permissions as needed. Describe a situation where you had to enforce an IT policy that was unpopular with users. Provide an example, how you communicated the policy, and how you managed user feedback. How do you stay informed about regulatory requirements affecting IT? Follow industry news, participate in relevant training, and consult with legal and compliance experts. What measures do you take to protect against insider threats? Implement strict access controls, monitor user activity, provide security awareness training, and establish a clear incident response plan. Advanced problem-solving scenarios. How would you troubleshoot a server that randomly shuts down? Check hardware components, review system logs, update firmware, and test with different configurations. Describe your approach to resolving intermittent network issues. Monitor network traffic, check for patterns, update firmware and drivers, and test with alternative hardware. A user is experiencing frequent application crashes. How do you investigate and resolve this? Check for software updates, review system logs, test on different hardware, and contact the software vendor if needed. How would you handle a situation where a critical patch causes compatibility issues? Roll back the patch, identify affected systems, test compatibility in a controlled environment, and work with vendors for a solution. Describe the steps you would take to diagnose and fix a slow file transfer issue on a network. Check network bandwidth, test with different protocols, review server performance, and optimize network configurations. How do you ensure high availability and disaster recovery for critical systems? Implement redundant systems, regular backups, failover mechanisms, and conduct regular disaster recovery drills. Describe a time when you had to quickly learn a new technology to resolve an issue. Provide an example, the steps you took to learn the technology, and the successful resolution of the issue. How do you handle a situation where a user reports data corruption? Verify the extent of corruption, restore from backups if available, investigate the cause, and implement preventive measures. A user needs to access a resource that they currently do not have permissions for. How do you handle this request? Verify the need for access, review company policies, obtain necessary approvals, and update permissions accordingly. How do you approach optimizing system performance for a resource-intensive application? Monitor system resources, adjust configurations, upgrade hardware if necessary, and work with application vendors for optimization tips. These questions and answers provide a broad and detailed preparation for various interview scenarios within Service Desk, IT Support, IT Help Desk, and Desktop L1 roles.